That's the big thing in Scotland. Is it our year? Is it different? And I think everybody is probably all in agreement that this time this team is probably a bit different. My first game away, we got hosed. We went down to La Rochelle. I think it's my first away game for Clermont. I was obviously looking forward to it. We got pumped. It's like close on 50 points, and I'm like,
I have my whistle here, I blow it out. Yeah. Well, Luke, he's driving anyway. He needs a red here.
Whistle.
Yeah.
Hey BYD, call Dave Kilcoyne.
Lukey, where are you, kid?
Dave, where are you?
We're going to the airport. Put that BYD to the test and get it moving.
Hold tight, I'm on the way now. There he is.
Lukey, what's the crack?
What's going on? Episode 3.
Good to see you.
Off to the airport now, let's go.
Let's go.
Here we are. And can you believe it? It's our final episode of our Six Nations special here on What the Ruck. Thanks to our friends at BYD North Dublin Navan Road, BYD South Dublin Dean's Grange, part of the MSL Motor Group. We're here in a lovely BYD seal and we're closing out in style, Killer.
Yeah, closing out in style. Great to be concluding a great couple of weeks. Who would have thought we've been here at the crescendo with all to play for?
Exactly. Like, remember when we were going to collect Ian McKinley, we were talking about perhaps damage limitation and what state his Irish team was in, but I suppose you stayed positive and now the rest of the country is positive again with the chance of a championship next week.
Yeah, I let it out, so I created the initial positivity. Look, it's we started with the whole, we were going through the transition phase, and I was trying to explain, and I think I did, about if there's any man who can get on top of that transition phase very early and make it happen quicker than most teams go through, it's Andy Farrell, and I think he's shown that. And going into last weekend with everything on the line, it's a testament to his leadership and what the lads have done, so it's great.
Yeah, and a good win over Wales, 27-17. I think a lot of people before the match thought that potentially we were going to cruise by them, maybe a 40-50 point after the heroics at Twickenham, but it's a Wales team that is improving and did almost turn Scotland over in the last match day, and I suppose a decent win to put you in a good position for next week.
Yeah, exactly. Look, Wales, proud nation, obviously the backs to the wall. I think they built on the momentum they got against Scotland. They did a good performance again, did a more solid performance. They're showing bite. Performances from a couple of Reece Carr, I thought was very good.
Did you teach him them?
Yeah, that's actually his jersey at home.
Yeah,
his first test was against us. And normally with in international, you'd always give a first capper a jersey.
Yeah.
So we switched jerseys. We had a big athletic man. I saw sign on there again for Saracens. So they've players coming through, going well. But again, I thought Ireland were consistent, did well. It wasn't the most exciting game in the world. Got it done. A couple of big performances. I thought Jack Conan was excellent.
Incredible, wasn't he?
Yeah, brilliant. Look, and I always say, I think Jack Conan in that back row there, and when he's in, he gives you, momentum. He gives you gets him on the go forward ball, and like Caelan and Josh and other lads can use our skill sets, bring it to the line, out the backs and that.
Yeah, he was good. I think Conan compliments Doris.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So I was saying, Jack, for people like Caelan or Josh that they have these subtle skills, they can bring it to the line, pull it out the back. Particularly Caelan, unbelievable footballer, but having Jack, getting him on the go forward ball and winning those hard yards allows them to flourish. So I think having him there just really adds that dimension that Ireland will probably missing a little at times.
Yeah, it does. We are on the way to Terminal 2 to collect our final guest for the Scottish pickup. It's Greig Laidlaw, an absolute legend of world rugby, a hero for so many Scottish fans, and this should be another cracker, Dave. What do you think?
Yeah, Scottish stalwart. There so long, retired was he 2019? Involved now in the Scottish underage coaching setup, stalwart, the Iceman, he's called him, unbelievable goal kicker, Gloucester, Clermont, well-travelled man. Yeah, so really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and especially, geez, like it's never really happened that heading into a final game week against Scotland, both sides will be hoping for an England win and both having a chance at winning some glory at the end as well. So should be a good one.
Yeah, he's going to be jumping off the plane after that crazy win against France the weekend. Jeez, it's some performance. So
yeah,
he'll be taking his step, unfortunately, getting there.
And he'll be the perfect man to dissect it. So I suppose we better park his car up here at the airport and go collect him.
100%, let's go. Or else we just jump in the plane here and go on another flight here with Steve. We might go over to Edinburgh maybe for a weekend away.
I think we deserve a bit of time off the three of us there. Maybe, you know, let the hair down a bit. Edinburgh, we could see if Greg will take us back.
Exactly.
So Dave, our final episode of our Six Nations special here on What the Ruck. Thanks to our friends at BYD North Dublin Navan Road, BYD South Dublin Deans Grange, part of the MSL Motor Group. We've been given this BYD seal to collect a Scottish legend, and it's none other than Mr. Greig Laidlaw. Greg, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure to be over in Dublin a week out before the big bash.
Exactly. We've got a big name here, Dave, and you know, a legend of Scottish rugby, and what a game we have next week to take on the Scots in the Aviva Stadium. So I suppose we have to pick this man's brain and see if we can get any tips how to take these down and get a Six Nations championship.
Yeah, 100%. It's we're getting the tactics out of him here. But great to have a legend like Greg over with us, and thanks for coming, kid.
Perfect timing. We saw a 90-point thriller at Murrayfield. I don't think anybody saw it coming. For me, I don't know if I've ever watched a more entertaining Six Nations match. What's the feeling like in Scotland after taking down France like that?
The place is buzzing, definitely at the moment of a 90-point test match. It was an incredible setting yesterday, actually. Like the weather, which is obviously very uncommon. 90 points in a test match, especially against France, also very uncommon. So it was a bit of a strange day, but the Scottish people absolutely buzzing. So proud of the team. And obviously the win's great, but probably just the manner of the performance, scoring 50 points, and for the most part Scotland were very much in control of the test match as well.
Yeah, and Dave, I remember after round one we were speaking, and it was after Scotland lost to Italy. I suppose nobody saw Scotland heading into a final weekend on the cusp of a first ever Six Nations championship.
Yeah, 100%. And even if you look at the other games, we were going through it, Greg, we were chatting, Ireland started to get the competition, you know, that France game, probably not a great performance, and over here the kind of chat was, I don't know, did you see it in the, you know, the media, like they can be very 1 week to the next, but it was transition period, we're kind of done, and now all of a sudden hopefully we're on both teams are up for it next week, so it's just shows you some competition and anything can change in a week.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Like you talk about, well, you look at the Six Nations now, it's probably the best championship out there in the world, isn't it? In terms of, and it's great for the game. Like Italy are so competitive now, and probably better than competitive. There was obviously, you know, winning games, beating England again yesterday. You know, Ireland were obviously under a bit of pressure, or maybe not pressure, but in the media. Yeah. And it just shows you. Gregor was obviously the same with Scotland after week one, and a week's a long time in sport. So appreciate it.
Hero or villain, hero.
Yeah, well, that's it. And it's a fine line, isn't it? You walk and even looking back to the first game for Scotland, Italy started the game really well, scored twice really early in the game, then the weather set in, and you know, to chase a game like that, it's really hard. You know, once you're 12, 15 points behind, whatever it was. So it was obviously a difficult start, but Scotland have been honestly like fantastic, like since then, like really good performance against England, and then dug it out against Wales. You know, a tough game and
Wales they were fighting their own corner as well. They were done, and then they had a good performance in Scotland. Obviously dug it out and won, but again Wales put it up to Ireland again a little bit yesterday. I think Ireland consistent performance, probably not as good as last week's. It was hard to mimic that English performance over. And again, we went over there, and before it they were asking us, predictions before, and everyone was saying, England, Ireland then come up with this biggest win they've ever had over there. Yeah. Emergence like Stu McCluskey, Rob Balakoon, Nick Timoney, these lads having massive performances, probably not big names going into it. So from Ireland, that's been a great find, because everyone says you're not looking towards the World Cup, but we are obviously looking to build, and I think a lot of lads now have kind of put their name forward, and there's a lot of hope going into last weekend and going forward, so it's great from our perspective.
What's the feeling from Scottish fans before coming over to the Aviva against Ireland has been a difficult place for teams. You were obviously involved in a lot, struggled to grind out results a lot of the time, but there's definitely a hope this time around with the way the lads are playing.
Oh, of course there is this time around. Like, that's the big thing in Scotland, isn't it? Is it our year? Is it different? And I think you can only really give an answer to that, on the performances, and I think everybody is probably all in agreement that this time this team is probably a bit different. And I think even looking back to November there, Scotland were up by a lot against somebody like Argentina, playing really good rugby, and they let that slip away. And I guess probably where I've been impressed with the team this time around is the leaders within the group, so the actual guys on the field. Sione's putting massive performances, Rory Darge, Finn, just leaders stepping up at the right times in big test matches, and sometimes that's what gets it done, isn't it? It's the tangible things in the moment that make all the difference, and I think that's why everybody's so excited in Scotland, and everybody's talking potentially we can go on and do it. But having said that, I've got a lot of respect for Andy Farrell, a lot of respect for the way Ireland are playing. You were mentioned there, Dave, in terms of are they in a team in transition, and I never really bought into that. I think, are they starting Prendergast, are they starting Crowley, and I think they've obviously figured that out, and it's such a key position, isn't it, that 10 slot?
Exactly, and we were saying, look, with and I'm 100% with you in the transition thing, because a week is a long time in a test rugby. You lose one game, all of a sudden you're a team in transition. But the one thing and you said with Andy Farrell, the one thing and I've been fortunate enough to play under him a long time, and the one thing with Andy Farrell, you always hope, because he can, he won't let the rot set in. Didn't have a best performance against France, but found an answer, found a way. As you said, the Sam Jack debate, you'd have more expertise in that position now than me. But and look, Sam came into the competition. He started, but if you look at Jack in 22, he started, won the Six Nations, and then, rightly or wrongly, found himself out of the squad, forced his way back in, resilience, everything else, and now he's playing really well, and Ireland are playing really well. So, it's
it's in that position as well. It's Sam's a wonderful player as well. I might add, because everybody's like, oh, he's this and he's that. He's a bloody good rugby player, is what he is. And he's young,
He's 20, between them, 22, 24. They're young men. You know how long it takes to figure it out.
Yeah.
And they're two different players, but
and
they complement each other well. Sam brings it to the line, playing with Leinster, fishes defenders out. Jack probably it can be off the cuff. So they both have two massive different skill sets, but having them being able to complement each other 1 week to the next, you're not going to go to World Cup at one. I think the days of a you or Raj, these one that are there consistently all the time, you need a competitive 23. Look at the bench you have now. You're shooting massive.
And I think, you take, for example, Finn. Finn's a great example. Finn came into the Scotland team, all the chat around him at the start, he's just a maverick. But he's grown into the role, hasn't he? So you look at Sam, even a Jack as well, they're going to grow into that role over time. It doesn't happen overnight.
Exactly. And listening to Raj during the week, just chatting about, you need time in the saddle. You need to build it. You need to build consistency, performance, and it builds your career. It's time. You need time in there.
It's the only way to essentially learn, and that's what I say to young players now. I'm obviously coaching Scotland under 20s, which has been great fun. And they're in obviously a different phase of their development, but especially in key positions, your 9s, 10s, hookers, you've got to play rugby essentially to figure it out, make your mistakes, exactly, understand why you've made them.
We were only speaking off air, just while we brought up number 10, about Finn Russell, and I suppose, like you said, Dave, we're in between kind of maybe a transition in who's wearing that jersey over here.
We're not using that word anymore, transition, we said. There's no more transitions. There is no transition.
They've arrived, I think,
the arrivals.
We're in the middle of the two of them, but when it comes to Finn and having not only that skill set, but he has a presence on the pitch, Greg, and I suppose that's one thing that you can't really teach, is it?
No, of course you can't. And again, it's probably linked to just what we've talked about, time, I guess, a little bit. And you look at as recently as probably the Lions tour, and I think that's where Scotland can really drill into, can we beat Ireland? They'll have seen firsthand. John DL was forwards coach. forwards coach of Scotland, obviously worked with Faz, and other coaches there, so they're going to know firsthand pretty much what Ireland are about.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting dynamic, but and coming back to Finn, that's where I was going with that. I thought Finn was absolutely fantastic on the Lions tour. Like, he really fitted into that team, and I think it was Jameson Gibson Park. After it, he said so easy to play with, and so it just shows like the quality. And coming to take it back to Scotland context, that's where, as I said, Scotland can really drill down. They had a lot of guys on that Lions tour, so they can send a real strong message. This week, this is how we believe we can beat Ireland if we can deliver in whatever zones they think they can deliver.
And yeah, exactly. And as you said, it's going to be some game. They know each other now, inside out. But if you look at, use Finn as an example, like the name of the Maverick and all this, that when he was starting out, you try these like the Hail Marys and stuff, and always, some of them come off, some of them up. Now 90 or 80% of what he does come off. He had to figure it out. So for a Jack or a Sam looking on, if he's an example of someone to use, he grew into it, and now he's like, probably the best 10 in the world, if not.
Yeah, and that's exactly that. I think he's almost been through the phase where he makes his mistakes, isn't he? And he understands why, and he understands probably when to be aggressive now. And that's the real maturity that's came through in Finn's game. He understands.
He figured it out.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. When to sit back, when to use that kicking game, when to still keep being aggressive. And I think Scotland have a real understanding of their DNA now, and that's so important to me. Understanding actually what you're all about as a collective. In Scotland, Gregor has obviously been there for a long time now.
Yeah.
And so that, like, consistency, you get cohesion, you're working with the coaches, and you find your rhythm, don't you, over time. And Scotland are probably at that sweet spot at the moment, and that's why the team's like really humming.
And I chat to Z. I chat to Z a good bit, and obviously him and Finn seem to have a little bromance going on. But he always says to me, he's like, because people think he's this kind of laid back character, but he said he's first man on the laptops. He's out, he's doing his prep, he's unbelievably professional, drive standards over there, which is probably something that people might not know about him. But you don't get to that level unless you're that professional, you're that over everything. No, you don't, do you? He's like, honestly, he's like excellent professional now. Yeah. In terms of, listen, he's had his, he likes a couple of beers and stuff still, and did in the past, but he was always the same. To be honest, he used to sit down, and I think that's, why he's able to pick these passes. It's not just by chance, or it's not luck. He actually understands what defences give him, and maybe what they don't give him. So he understands again when he can be aggressive and when he can't because of his preparation. Can he throw the long pass? Is he going to have to be a game where he's a little bit more patient, chucking short passes and just sometimes catching and passing and waiting for his time to be really aggressive. So he's awesome behind the scenes, and I think in terms of his leadership stuff, that's probably one of the massive growth areas for him. And again, why Scotland are going so well at the moment.
Have you got your England jerseys ready for next week? Who would have thought it?
That's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? I don't know what you think, Dave, but I'm a bit worried about France. They're going to be fairly upset after that one on the weekend. 100%,
but they also, the other side as well, the strike going in, and unfortunately I was part of a team that lost to Italy over there in 2013. They're going to come back with a backlash as well, England. So it's such a mad competition. There's everyone's kind of playing nearly for jobs at this stage out there. So it's going to be a massive week next week.
So, Greg, we've spoke about this current Six Nations, but we might get into your career a bit, and we're going to go right back to the start, back to Edinburgh, and I believe a debut in 2007. Do you still remember coming through? You're on the other side now, coaching these young guys that are at the start of their career. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do, mate. It's obviously a fair few years ago now. Professionalism was obviously a thing that had been so for 10 odd years by that point, and I think thinking back, like I was actually signed by Todd Blackadder as well, so it's awesome who you cross paths with. Todd's coaching out in Japan as well, so I was able to speak to him, so that's been pretty cool as well. No, it was awesome, and I think the league's obviously changed a fair bit. It was the Celtic Magners League, I think, back then.
Yeah.
Celtic League started to change a little bit. Now it's obviously developed into the URC, so there's so many moving parts, but great memories.
Different name every year.
Yeah, exactly. Great memories from playing at Edinburgh. It was always awesome, coming over to Ireland, Munster, playing in Thomond Park, playing over in Leinster and stuff. Always loved coming over here. It's always seen as a great challenge, which it always was.
And then you've been so lucky, Greg, obviously, to get to 37. You finishing up at that age, but to get to go to Japan, France, through coaching, playing, and the life experience and everything you have. How did you get on Clermont? I was telling you earlier, my old roommate JJ did a stint in Clermont. She didn't cross paths, but what was your experience over there? Enjoy it? Loved it?
No, I absolutely loved Clermont. Absolutely loved it in terms of big rugby town.
Proper club.
Proper club. Obviously Michelin backed, but it was probably maybe less French than some of the other clubs, which suited me, because I think that stability, great training centre, fantastic stadium. The team we had.
Was Morgan Parra there or something?
Yeah, Morgan was there. Because I think I was 32ish when I maybe 30, 31, something like that, when I signed for Clermont. So I was obviously getting a little bit older. I knew Morgan was obviously there. He was a massive, part of the club and figurehead as well. But I probably was at the stage I didn't need to play every week.
Yeah.
And obviously getting an opportunity to go and play in a team like Clermont, and geez, we had
the Galacticos.
When I think back now, sometimes
I know because you don't appreciate it.
We had Ice Toy Ava, who was probably the best player I ever played with. Fritz Lee, Pasili Yato, Tim Nana Williams, George Moala, and then some of the French guys, Wes Fofana, Morgan Parra, Camille Lopez, Damien Peno, Oliveretti Raka. You ever come across him, the Fijian winger, but he played for France?
And man, was Darjashvili still there when you were there? No, he would. Was he?
Yeah, David. Yeah.
And did he go into scrum coaching with him then?
He went down to La Rochelle, I think, first, because we had him and Rabah Slimani as both tight heads when I was in Clermont. So I was quite happy behind that scrum. Oh, we're taking Rabah off, are we? Here comes
You get a smoother ride with them than Luke driving anyway.
Oh, Dave, you've had many a ride against Ashford, though, haven't you? I think you told a couple of stories of some encounters with him with the...
Yeah, he was... I think he won Georgian Man of the Year 2 years in a row. Any man who wins Georgian Man of the Year is a dangerous man, but serious operator.
They loved their rugby almost in a different way in the top 14, though, don't they? It's such a huge competition. A lot of them put more emphasis on that rather than the European, which I suppose all of us Celtic nations really do.
Oh mate, it's really amazing to see actually. And that was probably one of the things that even I never really understood when I went to France. If you ask the French guys, would you rather win the top 14 or Europe? They'll always say the top 14. It's culturally ingrained into them to win the top 14. It's such a big part of that club life, and it's a big ordeal. Because Clermont won it in 2017, just before I signed. The year I went there, we had a bit of a disaster. Everybody basically got injured. I kind of set that off actually. That was my fault. I think I snapped my ankle because I'd done the Lions in 2017 and went straight to Clermont basically. And I was one of the first ones to go down, and we had a bit of a shocking year. But year 2 was unreal because we were in the Challenge Cup. So we won the Challenge Cup final, beat La Rochelle in the final in Newcastle, and then we were in the top 14 final against Toulouse. As well, and they beat us by about 6 points. It was one of the years you get to a final. We'd been pretty good all year, and we just never fired any shots, so we're pretty disappointed. One of the days.
Is the Premiership sort of in between in terms of how they take the domestic competition between, you were seeing top 14, because they do love their own competition. I know you were there at Gloucester. Would they prefer to win a Premiership over a Champions Cup?
Probably not so much as that French culture, I would suggest. I mean, it would probably be a bit of a mix down in England. So obviously the European thing's obviously massive, and you guys in Munster, you're probably one of the biggest clubs to obviously experience that. But yeah, it's probably slightly more mixed, and I think maybe the main difference potentially around that top 14 in the Premiership is I think historically in the Premiership there's been maybe 3 teams that have kind of really struggled, isn't there? Whether it be a Worcester or Newcastle or somebody like that, maybe a London Irish in years gone past.
And then the ring fence it,
and then you sort of tend to pick up an away win, whereas in the top 14, if you go to whatever, if Breve or up, if it's like, you know,
it's crazy. Sometimes I found that mentality mad, because I chatted to Paddy about it. Paddy Butler, my old housemate, they went to Poe. The difference between your home and away, it's like the mentality. I suppose you played with Gloucester, Edinburgh, but when you got over, did you notice it? Is it like an away game, like home game, you have to win? It's yeah.
Home games,
you'd wonder how it is though. What is it? Is it just?
I think it's like, because you've got that like such a strong connection to
with the fans,
your town, the fans. I think, and I might be wrong, but I think I only was beaten once at home in 3 years from memory.
Yeah, I remember
we were beaten by
your
Rassie,
Clermont team, or
in Europe. But I can't remember off the top of my head if we got beaten again at home when I was there for 3 years. And obviously,
Some record.
I never had to wait long to find out about the away games. By the way.
But isn't it mad, the culture?
I think it was my first game away. Sorry, we got hosed. We went down to like La Rochelle. I think it was my first away game for Clermont. I was obviously looking forward to it, and we got pumped. It's like, you know, close on 50 points, and I'm like, oh. Like, what's
from the
happening
week
here?
before?
What
changed?
And the boys are just like, don't worry, we'll just win at home next weekend. So it's like,
it's just a mad cultural.
Yeah, the differences in that. Yeah, your Scottish debut came at just quite a small task against the All Blacks in 2010, and what an All Blacks team!
Handy one to
that
start.
was. Yeah, nice handy, ease them into the action, I suppose, Dave.
I think it was about 33-6 or something when I actually went on. I started from the bench. Mike Blair was starting, and I think he had to come off with maybe a head knock potentially, and I got rolled on about 30 odd minutes, and we're 33 points behind already, so a bit of a baptism of fire. And I think we're as a Scottish team, we're probably struggling a little bit through that period of time to certainly get our attack going. We always tried hard, but it was a bit of a tough time. But I guess, baptism of fire a little bit as well, and
can only get better.
Yeah, well, that's it. You just learn as you go.
You learn as you go. Okay,
there's only one direction you can go.
Exactly.
If you're at the top, you're only going to go down. If you're at the bottom, climb your way up.
And it didn't take you long before you sort of cemented your place in that starting lineup. It was Dan Parks' retirement kind of gave you an opportunity. Was it 2012 Six Nations in around then? Yeah,
that was it. I think Parks ended up retiring in sort of unfortunate circumstances, shall we say. He got maybe left to sort of hang on his own a little bit potentially, and then because I was playing at the time, Mike and I were both at Edinburgh. So I was sort of battling away with Mike, and Mike was an awesome player for that 9 slot. And then what actually happened is we got a few injuries, and I started playing 10 for Edinburgh. And I don't know if you remember, we went on a mad run around 2013 in the European Cup. We got to the semi-final against Ulster, and I was playing 10. Mike was playing 9. So that basically just crossed over into the Scottish team. So I ended up playing, I think I got 10 caps, starting at 10 for Scotland, and I was sort of chucked there on a few other occasions when things were maybe not going so well. I always loved that challenge. I think at the time with Edinburgh, our DNA was all out attack, and we were so dangerous once we got a roll on. I remember that year we beat Rassie home and away. Cardiff at the time, they were going really well, so we beat some really good teams. We beat Toulouse at home at Murrayfield, so some great memories from certainly playing with somebody like Mike Blair as well. I learned a lot of him, especially when I was that one slot further out.
That defeat to Ulster, I think that was in the Aviva Stadium.
That was Aviva Stadium. Yeah. My good mate Johnny Afwa from Gloucester, he was playing in that one, so he likes to remind me of that one now and again. But yeah, that was we weren't far away from them. I think we were only beaten by 3 or 4 points, but then we were just at that stage. But I think we were maybe got a few sort of rabbits and headlights a little bit with a few young players coming onto the scene, and it was obviously a massive stage for us then to play in the Aviva, and we just never fired enough shots early in the game. We sort of waited a little bit, and against Ulster were a great team at the time. We just had too much to claw back in that game.
Dave, that you spoke to me before about that Scarlets match in European Cup, and maybe that being one of the regrets of a game that you didn't win. Sort of a similar position to Edinburgh with that against Ulster. Yeah,
it was Rassie. It was in the Pro 14 or Pro Magners or whatever it was called back then. But I remember just watching an interview before with Rassie, and obviously he's had so many big games, and they asked him, is there any game you look back and you regret? And it was that game against Scarlets, the 14 final. just for the game, Rassie had just come in with us. We lost our first game to Cardiff. We all met in the pitch the following day, and we army crawled up and down. Him and Jack had come in, and we found out very quickly what Rassie Erasmus was all about.
Is that right? Old school?
Yeah, old school, and can't handle losing. He's obviously unbelievable coach, brilliant tactician. Probably the most enjoyable. Him and Faz, they're really special people, special coaches. And went on an unbelievable run then. I think our next loss was Sarries in the semi-final in the Heineken Cup. And that was that great Sarries team, Farrell, Ford, all lads, the Vunipolas. And then with Scarlett send the final in the Magners, the Pro 14. And they came out. I think Steph Evans had just broke on the scene.
He was dangerous.
Yeah, he banged in about 3 tries after 5 minutes. And
you props want to see that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Peter Manny was he was on the wing. Got cut out a few times there.
And how was Rassie then, mate? In terms of obviously, everybody speaks extremely highly. Why is he so good?
Like with Faz, or you would have. He's just, there's certain people like you said there. Presence, obviously, aura, and that. Unbelievable deep thinker of the game, plays to their strengths. Like when he would that's why I love sometimes looking at South Africa. He'd slow poison a team. He had these phrases, maul them, scrum them, take it out, take it out of their legs. Exactly, yeah. And the bench, like that's what I said. When you look at Schumann, he's like the bench he have now in Scotland, using it as a weapon. He always saw the bench as a weapon. I remember saying some stat, like, is it within 3 or 5 points international rugby gets to in 50 minutes on average, if you look over whatever, because he was a mad technician and stats. Yeah, big. Okay. He was actually in the army. That's how him and Jock met. They were doing reconnaissance after school or college. You do your year or two in South Africa in the army. Yeah, that's where they met. And so big into numbers and research and teams and. So he came up with this, and he was like, if I can stay within 5 or 10 points of a team at 50 minutes, and then I can bring on, arguably probably your better team.
You look at the way he's coaching now, like he's obviously carried that on, and he's really cracked that, and it's, I guess, such an interesting story in terms of with Jacques as well, because he was like the physio as well. I think it just shows you, like, if you, a lot of the time, or I think all the time in my opinion, it just comes back to people. Like if you get the right people involved, then it's a great starting point, isn't it? You can sort of figure it out as you go.
Exactly. It's like anything. And Greg, you've been lucky enough to play so long and under so many great coaches. But if it's right at the top, it generally always works, And
that's true.
With Rassie and Jack, the dynamic is so hilarious, because it's like. It's like nearly good cop, bad cop. Rassie, he doesn't speak that often, but when he does, you be hanging on every word he says. Go into Monday meeting, you be dying to go in and listen to what he says, what he's prepared, and then Jack's bundle of energy. And again, you go in, he's every move, that they've done, laid out. You go in, everything is so laid on for you. He's in detail. And in
that's
fact,
why, because I'm not sorry to
no,
we had a little bit with that with around, like, I really enjoyed like Vern Corra as a coach, because he was in the same mould as that.
Okay.
We had a guy called Jason O'Halloran as well. He was a Kiwi coach as well, and they had the sort of same dynamics. Like Vern was very much front and centre, whereas Jace was like all the sort of detail and like skill stuff, like game plan, and like a really good dynamic. So I often think that's a really good fit for like a coaching group.
Yeah, 100%. And he, I remember Jack was telling me a story before. So he's qualified physio as well. Yeah. So he can be on the touchline, but he'd be calling out to like the back 3 players. He'd be calling the plays out. It was nearly like a cheat code in a way, because he'd see what they're doing. And he could be like whatever play they're saying, and he'd have the colour system, or he'd have a code word say to the back 3, and he'd see it. So it was nearly like having another. Genius. It was genius. Yeah.
Well, it's smart, isn't it? And there's probably no surprise why they're almost at the cutting edge of rugby.
I know,
Almost, teams are almost trying to emulate them at the minute as well. And I think, just quickly coming back to Scotland, like Gregor's a fantastic like rugby coach as well. Like he's really, really smart. Look at the way even Scotland played yesterday, I guess, in terms of just a couple of little plays and the line out. I don't know if it's all Gregor that comes up with them. I'm sure the other coaches are doing a good job as well. But just a couple of little smart plays, you know, you get your access into the game, either front foot, quick ball, or, you know, Scotland scored from first phase yesterday. Off the back of that line out, you know, it's not too common, you know, too many people.
Not anymore, yeah.
Once again, our Six Nations special on What the Ruck would not be possible without our sponsors, BYD North Dublin Navan Road, BYD South Dublin Deans Grange, part of the MSL Motor Group, and they've given us this BYD seal for the 3rd episode. We're going to take a quick minute to check out the best features of the car. This BYD seal has a WLTP claimed range of up to 570 kilometres, 3 driving modes, front and back trunk space, 360 cameras and full voice recognition, multifunctional Napa leather seats, heated and air-conditioned seats and steering wheel, rotating 15.6-inch centre screen.
I don't come with the car, but for the right price, I might.
In 2013, you had quite a good Six Nations, even from an individual point. I think it was over 60 points. You scored second top scorer in the championship after the halfpenny, and that year was, of course, a Lions tour to Australia, but didn't make the squad in the end. And I suppose
disgrace.
It must be tough. That I know the competition's so tough, but were you expecting a call that year?
Oh no, definitely not expecting one. I think, you know, I think obviously I knew, like I was a player, like I got absolutely everything out of my body, and like the nines at the time, you know, were obviously fantastic. You know, whether it's a Conor Murray, you know, Ben Youngs, you know, exactly, Mike Phillips, etc. So, you know, fantastic nines playing the game, and they were obviously, as a team, they were more successful than us. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to, you know, work out the potential they're going to be, you know, ahead of you in the queue. So all you can do is put your best foot forward, and I was just a big believer, and I had to just be myself. You know, I couldn't start worrying about, you know, this player's doing that, so I've got to start doing that. That was never me, and if I did do that, it was usually you'd end up with, you know, poor performances. So I think any time, and that was a sort of real, I guess, learning over, you know, my career as you get a bit older, and really just drilling down on who am I. Really
I was going to say that. Would you have had that early, Greg? Would you have, like, did you figure that out early? Be yourself. You weren't trying to. Obviously, when you're younger, you grow up and you see parts of people's game that you want to emulate and try and be. But did you kind of figure out early on that this is what I am, this is what I'm going to try to bring to the party? Yeah, you didn't get caught up in, like, as you said there, you try to be someone else, bad performance. You get away from what you're good at, what they had originally selected you for.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I think I kind of got it enough earlier on. You know, sometimes you
zero pressure,
it's going on, and
you know what
that's it. You know, when things are happening, like, am I being present in the game? You know, what's my behaviours like? And, you know, I was very fortunate. You know, I was made captain, you know, of a lot of teams. Like, I was always very driven, like, behind the scenes. Like, I'd be quite a quiet bloke sometimes, in terms of I wouldn't be the loudest in a team environment. Very much just my own sort of person. But, like, I was really driven around behaviours. That was what I probably figured out about myself over the years. It's like, if we just do things and genuinely have hard work, like, do things properly, if we prepare properly and give ourselves the best chance. So I think that's probably, you know, why a lot of coaches ended up making me captain as well over the years.
2015 was a World Cup that got Scottish fans really up on their feet, and I suppose ended in heartbreaking circumstances in that defeat to the Wallabies, and controversial end, you know, a late penalty from Australia after you were leading 34-32. Was 2015 perhaps the best Scottish team you were involved with, and can you take me back to that World Cup?
Yeah, I think specifically around that team, I think it was. I believe Vern, in my opinion, done an awesome job with us. Like, he got us, like, so competitive. I think we're on the cusp of being like a really good team. Yeah, that was tough to take. Listen, I think I reflected after that as well. It's like, again, I tried to see everything as a learning opportunity. Like, could we have done something different as leaders to, you know, finish that game better off? And as you do, you reflect, and it probably wasn't the right call, you know. But, you know, these things happen, don't they? So you just got to adapt and overcome. But, you know, going back to I talked before a little bit around the DNA. What's the DNA of your team? And if you truly start to understand that, like, everybody becomes comfortable and you know what you are and who you are. And very much around that time, I felt we were starting to really grasp that under Vern. And I think, you look at Scotland now, to bring it back to the present day, they're very much in that same mould probably at the moment.
Yeah, and Dave, I don't want to remind you, I don't want to bring it up because obviously an Irish fan, but you know what a quarter-final defeat in the World Cup is like.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have 2 of them. Not.
I've only one, mate.
Heartbreaking for us, especially I suppose in the most recent one in France. We were part of that FAS, team that won the Grand Slam in 23. The beating won the Tour of New Zealand. It seemed like right man at the top. Johnny still peak of his power, captain. There was a good cohort of players. Like your real experienced lads there and good lads coming through. And I think to get that sweet spot, I think you obviously need to ride the top. You need, as I said there, your captain and firing at all cylinders, and the 10 a position like a 9 or 10 where you're captain. I feel like you, Greg, that they call the shots and they steer the ship. And then it seemed like the perfect storm, and then beat South Africa, and there was such expectation and I suppose nerves going into that game. All of a sudden you win it, and then you play New Zealand, and I think we nearly played it's easy looking back in hindsight, was that our World Cup semi-final or final, the South Africa game, went out and lose the New Zealand game. Very hard for us all to take, I suppose the country to take, and you have to build and go again, but it's
amazing, isn't it? And the exchanges, and people are always like, why don't you get over the line, Ireland in this instance? But it's so tough at the top. You guys go on, you beat South Africa in an unbelievable performance, and then you get pipped by New Zealand, and then on the day, New Zealand probably performed out of their skin as well.
Exactly,
so it's tough, isn't it?
And you're saying people in New Zealand, it's still New Zealand, and I think it was just because South Africa were so good going into it, and it was such a big game, and we'd amped it up so much, and you probably don't look at quarterfinals, semi-finals at it. You look at what's in front of you, and then you win that probably, and it was such a relief, and then you have to go into the next game, and then all of a sudden it's New Zealand, who they can pick anyone apart on a big day like that, and unfortunately for us,
that was probably. Listen, I want to be very respectful, because if we'd have pipped Australia going back to that 2015, we'd have played Argentina in the semi-final, and at that time our record was actually good against Argentina. So it's like that one, you start to, naturally as human beings, you start to look ahead a little bit. Not that we were on the day, but it's like you just some days it crosses your mind and you think, what if we'd got to the semi and pushed on, but
you're on that so-called better part of the draw.
That's it, and some of it comes down to luck, as well, and what side of the draw you're on.
And on the day,
and on the day as well, and I think, again, even as recently as yesterday, you go back to that Scotland game, they were bloody fantastic, don't get me wrong, but we got a few bounces of the ball as well. Yesterday, a couple of chip kicks, and it just come back to Scotland, and you need a bit of luck to win as well, so maybe it might be Scotland's year. Bit of luck on the weekend as well.
Let's hope not.
Do you want to get the bus back here? We'll get the bus here.
2015, while that was what I imagine would be potentially the lowest part of it, you were nominated for World Rugby Player of the Year.
What an achievement.
I made the list.
Soften the blow.
Listen, it's always nice, isn't it? I was very, very, very humbled by that, to be quite honest. And again, I think, listen, it goes back to how the team was playing as well, doesn't it? If we're playing a team that's really struggling, you're probably going to struggle to get voted. So, very much. Again, the coaches, I felt really, really comfortable in who I was and what I was all about. And it just shows you, once you've got that sort of platform, it certainly got the best out of me. And extremely humbled to have that, but certainly a lot to thank my teammates and coaches for around that one.
Was it Dan Carter? Was it that his year he won it?
Yeah, Dan won it that year.
Disgrace, we should
I don't know who he won that, but to be fair.
Look, it's not a bad fella to lose against.
Nah, it's not. But I think we were down in Monaco actually. I think it was in Monaco there.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do, mate. So
we're on the way here down now.
That's it.
We're sharing
the funny thing about that was, I'm sure Mohad Altrad, the owner of Montpellier at the time, he was there, and Finn being Finn ended up basically on a night out with Mohad Altrad, and I don't know who paid for the drinks, but A heck of a character, old friend.
Greg, in terms of like the leadership thing, and obviously chatting to you, and obviously looking at your career and what you've done, the captaincy, and you obviously did figure it out really early, and you're very content. You obviously did your own thing. Did the kicking side of it, would that have something you leaned into, or you found added extra pressure because you've captain the team and you've the kicking duties as well? Did you find that helped you? Was it more pressure? Was it?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, I don't know. Like, the more I very much enjoyed kicking. Like when I was younger, and like, that was my childhood essentially. Growing up, like, if I wasn't playing football or golf, I was playing rugby, and just enjoyed it. So I think that enjoyment, I guess, I carried into certainly the early parts of my career, and then I guess when you start to get a good reputation, and you start, I was almost put myself under a lot of pressure potentially, but it was something that probably really helped my leadership, because I was very, very, very process driven.
And you've control.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, if I can control my mind, and that's what you get asked about kicking. What do you think about? And it's all process. Like, as soon as you get awarded a penalty or you score a try, boom, you're straight into your process of your kicking, and you're essentially all you're doing is blocking everything else out, and just getting what's my process, and holding your process under pressure is the key to being a good kicker.
What was your process? Like, were there kind of step by step, and what were they? Because I know it must vary for everybody.
Yeah, I guess it'll vary. Very much for me, it was like, once you get the ball, like balling tee down, always lined the ball up just inside the right post when I was in the groove, so to speak, which is the good days. I kicked with just a slight draw, which was nice. So very much that alignment of the ball first and foremost. I was 2 steps back, and always when I took 2 steps back, I'd use like physical touch, so I'd like touch my thigh, and that's like a mindset and around like centering myself, and like part of my technique to switch into that mode, like process, not about the crowd noise or the TV cameras, whatever it is. Then 2 steps to the left, and I actually had a sequence of numbers, and I don't know where this ever came from, like, but it was ever since I was young. I used to look at the ball, that was a certain number, look at the top of the post, and I'd have a sequence of how many times I'd done that.
Yeah, because you would see the kind of update. Yeah, so that would never change.
That would never change. So every single time, my process was the same.
I was the same, 3 steps back though, and a different type of physical.
maybe that was a problem.
Yeah.
I think that's fascinating. Do you pick stuff up from other kickers that you would have played with? Because I know at Gloucester you would have had James Hook, Morgan Parra at Clermont. Is there bits, maybe not actually place kicking, but in terms of overall play of an out half when you would have played or scrum half in terms of kicking, do you pick stuff up from other people that you're playing alongside?
Oh yeah, definitely over the years. I think it goes back to when you're a little bit younger as well, doesn't it? Like I was very fortunate. I mentioned Chris Patterson before. He was obviously a goal kicker, and Mussy gets called. He was like before his time. He was like super professional. And I came into the Edinburgh Academy at the time, and he was the goal kicker, so I just kind of watched him, and I was like, I'll just do what he does. So I obviously not copied everything. I had my own technique, but I've seen his work ethic, which is obviously a big one, like repetition, like of the skill. I don't know if anybody plays golf, that it's about repeating a skill, isn't it? Yeah. So and it's exactly the same in goal kicking. So if you can dial in your technique, become a good kicker, then essentially it's all about, can you repeat that technique when the big moments come.
And I won't compare the scrummaging to the kicking, but it is mad. It's sometimes you go in, and when you overtry, I know that, like I can only say from a scrum, you go in, you have your process, you go back. For me, it was something different than the 2 steps back.
Yeah.
But you go down, you set yourself, you center yourself, you go back. But something happens in a game, and when you try too hard, that's when your hips come out. You over try, and that's when you leave yourself vulnerable, and you don't go back. And so I think that's it. It's the process, isn't it? It's going back to.
Yeah, I find sport like truly interesting in terms of whether it's tennis, like a Roger Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, whoever it is, Andy Murray. Like, they're obviously like unreal at tennis, but is there much difference between them, for example, and the next best 10 tennis players in the world? Technically, I don't think there probably is. But what is the difference? And I think it's the top 2 inches. Like, can you stay present when you need to win a point? can you stay present when you're going to take a goal kick or go into a scrum? And essentially, it's about delivering in the big moments.
Yeah.
And if you go back to, I bet you the best coaches you've had, you mentioned Vern there, and with Rassie Erasmus, and with Andy. What Andy's biggest strength is, you meet certain people in life, and they're mentally animals. He's a mental animal.
Yeah.
But there's certain sayings that still live with you. Don't be desperate, be accurate. So Andy, you want it so much, and you're trying, and I'd love to see. I guarantee you some of the conversations he's had with Sam or Jack that we're chatting about now. But all the players, be accurate. Don't be desperate. It's such a good, don't over try. Be calm. Be in the present. You look at Ireland now when they go in the huddle. You see them. The two breaths. It's. Because I think he's probably the two of their best. They're almost like psychologists, really.
And like, obviously, I was fortunate enough to work with Faz in 2017 with the Lions. He was fantastic in terms of he gets people, doesn't he, as well? He understands when to push. He understands probably, when to back off and show a bit of love.
Yeah.
But all just the little golden nuggets, aren't they? Especially for the younger players, until you realise that about just that calmness, under pressure. And again, you only know what you know. I'm coming back to my experience at the minute, coaching Scotland under 20s. I'm really enjoying almost trying to help them along their way in terms of that calmness in their mind. We talk about being from about here down 100% speed, but from here up it's just calming our minds and being nice and clear in our thought process and what we're thinking about. We've got to think fast, but it's just that slowness almost to seeing things, and it's an interesting space.
It's a very interesting space, and it's mad. It's sometimes because for prop it's different, and people, when if I was carrying a ball before something and you come around the corner and people think you're flying, but sometimes you're actually so calm when you're in the zone, and that's when you're playing at your best, whereas your decision making goes cloudy. When you're.
Well, it's in that flow state, isn't it? Not to get too deep back, especially you forwards, and that's where rugby is just so an awesome game, isn't it? Because you've got to be physical, otherwise you're probably going to get beat. But you got to walk that fine line of pushing it right to the edge, but being in control.
That's it.
It's that fine, to use that example of you guys, especially you big boys carrying the ball. You're going 100 mile an hour, but have you got the calmness?
The calmness of
mind. If somebody jams in, to just slip the ball, and
are you able to hear what's behind you or whatever? Some of the lads now are probably listening to disco, and he never listened to it.
Exactly.
And he's on here giving
these guys are talking.
But I know it's.
But it is important because listening's actually a skill as well.
100,
Because again, blue heads, red heads, and all that stuff. It's if you're in that red state, a lot of the time you don't hear, and if you've got the ball, you're just going to chuck it up. Whereas the call might come in to play the player at the back, a little tip, whatever it is. But if you're not in the right frame of mind, you're going to be clouded, and that's when you start making poor decisions, essentially.
Some of these sayings are coming back to now with your head. 2 ears, 1 mouth. It's true. And you're.
I've still got the coach's hat on today, but I've got a bit to do. Actually,
I have my whistle here. I blow it out. Well, Lukey's driving anyway. He needs a red here.
Whistle.
But I find as well. I did a little bit of coaching on the age of Bose. I think at that level, because lads at under 20s level, you're getting them at such a great age. I think because they're so eager, and their minds are still developing, and their body, the want is so there. I mean, you can influence them so much, and at that level that they're all trying to make it. So you obviously have that hunger inside, but you can actually have such an influence on their livelihood, mindset, everything. So are you really enjoying that? You're enjoying the.
I'm really enjoying it at the moment. I think it's learned experiences, isn't it? I think that's one of the beauties of travelling, and whether it's Gloucester, France, Japan. I was coached by Rob Penney, Johan Ackerman in Japan.
I had Rob as well.
Rob
what a great man!
Great man.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I think it's one of the great things about travelling is you meet so many different people and they see the game slightly differently. So if you can essentially collate a bit of information, and I think me coming back into Scotland, just really trying to sort of import some of that back to some of our younger players and just free them up to play rugby. I feel now, especially in the game of rugby, some of it's quite clunky, and everybody stays in system, and
Yeah.
And you take France or even Scotland, for example, like they try and break the game up where you can. And the pleasing thing for me around that stuff is there's still space for that.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to be in system all the time. You
can
France,
express yourself.
Yeah. France are probably the best example, really, in terms of the way they're very unique in the way they play the offloads. But it just like it's so awesome to see that ball movement and the excitement. Defence coaches might not agree, but you know, obviously, what a spectacle yesterday, wasn't it? That shot in France game for the game of rugby, you know.
But Rob actually, sorry to be cutting across there, Luke. Rob was it's a funny story about Rob. So we had Rob came into Munster, and we a bit more systems focused for around the corner. You know, Munster old DNA.
It worked for you guys, you know.
Yeah, and look, it did obviously incredible success. So 6 and 08, and it worked, and it was probably I wouldn't say it's old school, but it was what worked. Yeah,
DNA of Munster.
Yeah, it was the DNA. And Rob came in, and I remember he brought out a mat. He'd like these 15 little figurines, and you'd take your figurine, and he'd talk you through all the moves you're going to do that day. But he opened up lads' vision. Like I remember, he did a 2-4-2. You know, 2 props, 2 second rows in the middle.
Yeah.
And you were looking up, so he was like, your job, he explained to, and I know it's obviously evolved now and everyone kind of knows this, but your job is to be, I'm your eyes. So now Luke needs 4 of us our eyes where he's driving here, so you're like, yeah, right here.
Getting a tough time.
Yeah. Jeez, this is nothing for the other episodes.
The ball carrier is enough to do, you know, so if I can help you, and I'm scanning, and he brought scanning in, and we were playing wit to wit, and we'd great. We got to that's another game we kind of fecked up that Glasgow final, and we'd 2 Highland Cup semi-finals under Rob, but he really brought the game on, you know, and I often think, you know, if we kept developing that, because we were going a really good way with it. Pat Lam then robbed our game plan and went up and ended up in the Pro 14 with Connacht, but yeah, he brought a totally different dimension of playing for us, you know, that I suppose New Zealand kind of way of and it was.
Yeah, obviously, like that was probably the sort of Crusaders way, wasn't it? You know, that's obviously why Rob was brought over. Maybe I don't know, obviously the ins and outs, but and there's different ways to play the game, which is obviously great. But I think that's maybe one of the things. Again, you can probably tell me more, but is that the DNA of a Munster?
Yeah.
Obviously they're trying to evolve it at the time, but they probably went back to there's no right or wrong
trying
way.
To catch a crossfield.
Well, exactly. It's very much ingrained in Munster, that the DNA, how you played round the corner, just relentless work ethic and stuff like that. And
I think that's what makes great coaches. It's like Rob had a blueprint of what he thought was work. Your New Zealand 2-4-2, and then we tried to adapt it. We originally would have had second rows in the wing, and then they brought them into the middle. So, as I said, you wouldn't have your Paulies or Donegal Callan out trying to catch a ball, because their special skills is in the middle. Crashing it up or cleaning and making your game plan adaptable to your team. But Rob was he was a real great coach, great thinker of the game.
Yeah, he is.
I was delighted to see that. Yeah, and he'd been a success, because they were nearly calling for his head the first year, and now after.
Well,
I was delighted. I texted him year 2. Yeah, brilliant.
What was Japan like, and how did that come about? Because it's a rugby nation that is flourishing over probably the last decade, that they're really taking it more serious. And I suppose, what was the whole experience? You're still over in Japan quite a lot, are you?
Well, we just moved back as a family in December there, so back to Scotland. So we ended up doing 5 years there, which was a very good stint. I basically told the wife that we were going for about 18 months, and then that'd be me. I'd be retired and we'd be home. So I ended up playing 3 seasons. The last season I was player coach. Okay. The second season I ended up coaching the defence, and then I was asked to be the head coach. So it was, in terms of a life experience, like awesome, absolutely brilliant. I've got 3 boys. My 2 big boys went to international school over there. They are speaking very, very good Japanese, which is just incredible. Certainly better than me and Rachel.
Yeah.
Arigato gozaimasu. So there's a bit of that. But
this is above your pay grade here.
I mean, that's pretty much me done anyway.
Yeah, I said.
But how it came about, I guess, was after 2015 Rugby World Cup down in Gloucester. Obviously, remember Japan beat South Africa, and I think the week after, I don't know what the stats were, but there's 2 million people in Japan watched the South Africa game, and because they won, the next game was against Scotland, and something mental, like 20 odd million people tuned in back in Japan. I was Scotland captain. I think I was man of the match.
You went down a hit.
So I went down a bit of a hit, and then 2019 I had a few of the Japanese teams sort of reaching out to me during the World Cup, but they obviously knew I was in Japan. I started talking to a couple of teams.
Yeah.
And I just grew arms and legs from there. I was pretty much set to stay in France. I was at Clermont at the time. I was going to go to a different club in France, and then that obviously came across my desk, and I obviously knew I had one last contract in me. My wife and I, we decided let's give it a shot, go for a life experience.
Yeah.
Life experience, did the honourable thing and cashed in.
Well, the yen exchange rate was good then. It's not so good now, but
Missing the Onsens.
I miss the onsen.
They're unreal, aren't they? It's the culture over here, unreal. What a country.
So the Japanese hot spas, like big part of the culture. It's a super place. Like I can't recommend it highly enough. And I guess that's what we probably discovered about Japan. You got everything there. You can go down to like the southern islands, Okinawa, which is a prefecture, and it looks like Hawaii basically. Or you can go up into the north. You get awesome skiing. Loads of Australians and New Zealanders come across in the winter season. And again, there's like little sort of onsen towns up in the north. So it's awesome. You can go do a bit of skiing, come off, go in the Japanese hot springs, and wonderful country.
There.
We were there. We toured there in the summer before the World Cup. So we had a good stint of it there. Yeah, we stayed in. James Ryan loves his food over there. We stayed in Ramen. Did you say it's? There's actually a place
Called Ramen.
Yeah, called Ramen, where it originated, and they had a chef come in every day, make us ramen, and just there's so many different. I think the population in Tokyo is 43 million. Is it?
Yeah, I think it's 33.
33.
Most densely populated city in the world, I believe.
Insane, yeah.
Edit that, we say 43. It's definitely 43 million.
I might be wrong.
It's depopulation.
Before we wrap this up, what Dave and I have liked to be doing is we've been asking some of the forwards on the show to choose their dream pack. But with you, we'd love you to choose your dream backline of players that you played with. You can put yourself in the team. You can put yourself on the bench. And you can coach them whatever way you want. But maybe a 9 to 15 from your career. And we'll start off with Scrum-half.
Oh, jeez, that's a good question. So if I need to play with or against them, or it doesn't really matter, just somebody in my era?
No, these are teammates. Teammate, club, country.
Yeah.
Lions, I suppose you could take in if you wanted.
That's a tough.
That's already a tough one. I'm already thinking nines. Jeez, because you got Morgan, Para, obviously. Like Morgan is pretty special player as well. Like Morgan at the heart of the line. To be fair, when he played for Clermont, I was impressed with him. Tough guy. Obviously, Conor Murray, obviously with the Lions. Jeez.
Can't give it to Murray now, my old house.
I'll blame you. I'll blame you. I'll go Morgan Para. I'll go Morgan at 9. I'll give a shout out to Mike Blair in there as well. I'll land a lot off. He was excellent. So Morgan's at 9. Oh jeez, I played Cami Lopez as well. Cami is. I always think Cami was underrated as well. But James Hook at Gloucester. Jeez. Finn Russell.
Wow.
Sexto, played with Sexto in the first game of the Lions.
Yeah.
I've obviously got to go with my mate Finn, clearly.
Okay, yeah.
Played with him the most, so that's why I'm giving it to him. I think, let's go 12 next. 12 I've played with. Wesley Fofana maybe?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Wes was Remy Lamarat as well in Clermont.
Yeah,
he was a different player to Wes, but he was a beast. Let's go Wes Fofana. Wesley Fofana's in at 12. I think 13.
Did you play with Rougerie as well when you were over there?
Rougerie's 13 as well.
My God.
Am I just picking a French backline?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm doing?
He had about 9,000.
Yeah.
He got about 450 games.
Yeah.
What
He was
the Iron Horse, he was called, was it? Yeah.
He was unbelievable as well.
How many games did he play? Was it 4 or something?
Yeah, I think it could have been like 450, something mental like that.
My God.
Yeah, he was a machine.
Yeah, some player.
Yeah.
I forgot about him until you said that name.
Yeah. Rougerie, yeah. Let's put it. Yeah, let's put it.
Now, you don't have to pick it now that I brought it up, but
No.
he's up there anyway.
You'll know, mate. When you think back, you forget who you've played with.
Yeah, I know.
Against. Let's go with Aurelian. Let's get him in there. 14. Crikey me, I'm pretty much going French here because I'm thinking now of Damien Penaud as well. I played with Dams at Clermont.
Oh my God,
He was
Young Damien, was he?
Yeah, he was a bit younger, but he was electric then. Yeah, you're going to have to probably put Damien Penaud in there, aren't you?
Yeah.
Dams, he's on the right wing. What do we need now? Left winger. Who's trying to think who all played for the Lions or Gloucester. Who's all the wingers? And Jack Noel. Jeez, big fan of him and the Lions.
Yeah.
Low centre of gravity. Good. Let's put him in there.
He was a
good guy as well. So Jack, shout out to you, mate. You can go on the wing. and then I have to go Ice Toyava. Isaiah Toyava.
Okay.
I think he's the youngest guy ever to play for All Blacks. Played with him in Clermont as well. He was one of the guys.
She was going to Clermont, but the Edinburgh lads won't be too happy.
Yeah, no, it's funny. It was a bit earlier in my career as well. He was like a machine. His body was sort of creaking a little bit, but you know, when I was in Clermont, when he was fit and firing, it was like, we're probably going to win today because Ice is playing. So there you go. I'll give you that backline, and sorry to anybody I've offended.
Well, what another episode this has been, Dave. Thanks again to our friends at BYD North Dublin Navan Road, BYD South Dublin Deans Grange, part of the MSL Motor Group. This has been the Scottish Pickup. It's a huge week for both Irish and Scottish rugby. Dave, Greg, quick fire. Who's winning and by what margin?
Scotland by 4. Get it in first.
Dave.
Ireland by 5.
Before you drop me back at the airport.
Bring him down here to the green bus. Look, it's going to be some week. I won't say best of luck, but thanks a million for coming, Greg, legend. Great insights there, I think, from someone, Greg career. Obviously, I'm not going to embarrass you here and list off everything you've done, but look, thanks for coming. I was going to say best of luck. See you at the weekend.
See you at the weekend.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. Listen, it should be a cracking game, shouldn't it? So yeah, very much looking forward to it.
That's it. Lads, we're over and out.